All right, hello again. Welcome back. I figured I'm just going to skip the intro and the camera and all that for today. We'll just go straight into the programming bit. So in the previous episode we left off, we created component rect as well as camera follow and camera draw. So just implementing more system functions of, camera draw is kind of similar to what we were doing with just our renderer.draw, but now we've added on an extra component where we offset the stuff we're drawing by an arbitrary camera. So like that camera moves around with our player, kind of gives that overworld feel, and we got to implement that today. One little thing that we kind of messed up, I swapped flesh guy material and grass material. They're in the wrong entities, so let's go ahead and fix that now. This should be ePlayer, and this should be eTelemap. Now this doesn't actually change anything, it's just a cosmetic sort of issue, especially if we do start to move some of the stuff out of the class. We want to make sure the right material is in the right place. Yeah, so now the next thing, so we got to move, so now we're no longer going to be drawing using our renderer straight with our main. We're going to use our camera draw. So we'll have to set up those camera draws, and to do that, we're going to use a similar approach to what we're using with this for loop here, and then we'll just do a regular standard camera draw for our player. So I guess one other thing, we could make a vector kind of storing all of our camera draws. So we'll go ahead and make the vector here. So standard vector, and we'll just call this, we got to actually implement stuff into this. Component iSystem, and then we'll make it a pointer. Just call it render systems. And then we also have for our camera follow, it's not really quite a render system. So we could also have a queue for update systems. I guess it's kind of pointless now. So let's just call this systems. Just make sure everything is pushed back properly, and that should be fine. Let's go ahead and make our player. So to do that, to implement that, we'll have to make our rectangle here. So to do that, just be C transform. And if you remember from the previous episode when we talked about transform is just the local, like the camera position based off of where it is on the map, as opposed to like where it is on the screen. And that will just be ePlayer push back component, and then more nonsense here, the component transform, and all we need in our transform here is where we put the rect. It's just called dest. So we'll go ahead and sort that out as so, and then we'll need our C source here. So C source is equal to ePlayer pushback component, and then we have source, and that will input our source. I believe source is defined down here, so we'll have to move that over. In fact, we could just copy and paste this out and do rect. Define it like that. That way we don't even have to define it. That's a little bit better. And we can do the same thing with dest. Actually, no, we cannot. We will need to, actually, we'll have to move transform out if we excuse me. We're going to have to move transform out so that we can actually edit it. So we'll go ahead and do that here. I believe we're gonna have to make it a pointer. Don't think we can define it any other way. This will be component transform. And we'll just continue to call it dest because, I don't know, we're lazy. And we'll have to move that out and define it here like so. And then these are going to be messed up because this is now a pointer, not a regular expression or a regular object. Let's see here. Oh, I guess I still call it dest, and I don't really want to fix that. We're going to be changing a lot of this stuff anyways, so we can have some pretty terrible names in the meantime, and then we'll actually clean up and do some good naming conventions, have some better structured files, hopefully, as we continue to build this game. I just want to make sure these episodes are not too long. I know especially this sort of stuff is pretty boring. Compared to like the actual stuff moving on your screen and whatnot. So let's go ahead and let's see, we got source, we got dest. I believe that's it. So now we have to set up our tile map, which we are going to be copying and pasting this. And where the heck did I define tile map? There it is. And then our total grass we'll have to define again. Except now it's going to have to be a bit bigger than just the screen size. So we'll have to change this. And we'll just do this, I don't know, 32 multiplied by 64.0f. We'll make it so the compiler doesn't have a warning too. We'll just make it a giant array. Wait, no. I just want 32. I actually want that as an int. Yeah, we have 32 rows, 32 columns. They're each 64 by 64. So I don't know. Do the math there with 64 times 32. It's a pretty big number, I'm sure. And that is going to be our total grass, and we're going to go ahead and define that like so. And just like what we did with player, where we defined a source and a dest, we'll have to do the same for each of our individual tiles. So let's go ahead and call this and C tmap transform. And we'll do that here. This is E tile map. Then our rect that we're pushing back, we have it defined there. It's the grass dest. And then as for our source, we can actually just use the same source as our player. It's not really a huge deal to redefine it. We could even just pass through the source that we're already using with our player. But we'll just redefine it because in the future that's more than likely, well, not exactly. In the future we'll only have one source per like tile. We'll have to set that up at another point. But that's when we deal with actual tile maps as opposed to single images, single image files. Let's see here. Anything else that we need to accomplish? Oh, the draw. We didn't even implement the draw in our player. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So that's a CS for component system here. And we'll have to push it back to our system. So I guess we could just do that. Systems dot pushback. And we'll go ahead and add the player. We'll push back this system. This component system to our player entity. Looks like we have not defined it. So let's go ahead. No, we did define it. There we go. Camera draw. And inside of camera draw, Let's go ahead and look at the different things that we need to push back. Dest, source, renderer, material, and camera position. That is quite a lot, so I'm going to actually just move this over here so I can look at it while I yeah, we'll have to zoom out. Sorry guys, I know you guys like the zoomed in sort of portion, but I also want to be able to quickly do this. So we have our dest, so we'll go ahead and pass through dest here. But I guess it's passed by as a reference, not a pointer. So we'll do it like so. Then C source. Then we got the C renderer, or the renderer, which I guess we have not defined yet. So we'll have to move our game above the player. That's all good now. Then we need to define our camera, which we have not created yet. So let's go ahead and define that, I guess. But I guess we could just, we could put something here. C cam position. Boom. Now we just got a bunch of red, but we will fix that red very shortly. Actually, we have another red over here. Oh, that's for drawing. We can just delete that. It's fine. Oh, we need the material. No, we'll pass that through, sure. Flesh, guy, matte. And let's define our camera object here. So E camera, new entity, and inside of our E camera, we're just going to have a position. So let's go ahead and define that. What do I call it? C cam position. C cam position is equal to E camera. Then we'll just go ahead and add, no, we'll just push back component here. And component position. And it doesn't actually matter what position our camera starts in, as since we are just updating it every single frame with our camera follow function, it doesn't really make sense to put anything besides just the default 0, 0 for our position. And then we gotta do the same thing for our tile map. I think we defined grass material there. Yep. I think we have everything we need. Source and dest looks all good. I guess we'll have to redefine that, otherwise they're going to get an error because this is called C source. And let's go ahead and create our draw. So just like what we did with player, we'll just go ahead, systems, push back, and we have E tile map, add, or we'll just push back component, and component system, and camera draw. And we need to push back our C tile map transform. Then it goes source, so C tmap source. Then after source we have the renderer, so we'll go ahead push back the renderer. Material, which is grass material. And finally we have our cam position, so C cam position. And that looks fine to me. I guess we also should probably implement our camera follow, which is going to go under player. I've been jumping back and forth. I don't know if that's annoying you guys. It's annoying me. I'm sorry. I really am. I don't know why I'm jumping back and forth like this. It's not how I usually code, but I just keep forgetting things and then just going back and adding them later. We'll just go ahead and push back component here, not child, but component system. And we got camera follow here. And inside of camera follow, what do we have for camera follow? We got just the follow transform and the position for the camera. Pretty simple. So that's just star dest, C cam position. And I think that's fine. I do believe we are going to have to move our player so that it's in front of our tile map, since we want to render our tile map first. And we also have to add camera. So let's go add ID child. Camera. And that should about do it. I think we got everything done. We just have to, I guess we'll have to do renderer dot begin and renderer dot end. And we'll just do a for loop through our systems here. So auto, sys, and systems. And then sys execute. And that should just draw everything to the screen. And we'll have a working camera to look around with. Well, unless we got some build errors. Cannot convert argument from rect to const rectangle and. Kind of figured there'd be an issue with that. Let's go ahead and fix that. Oh, we didn't even implement that. No. Yeah, that would be something that would error. So we have to, if you remember from our main, where I sloppily didn't explain, when we were defining our rectangle, I was just passing through a rect, but there is no actual constructor for our rect.h. So of course it's going to error there. So we have to actually define that. That's something I forgot in the previous episode. So rect, like so. And then we can just do a simple rect. Got a lot of rects going on over there. And then everything just runs smoothly. Oh. That's interesting. I wonder how that happened. That's a very interesting sort of setup that we got going. We probably should fix that, I would assume. So let's go ahead. We'll zoom in on our code. Let's go ahead and move this to another line because it's pretty long. And let's go debug. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun with it. Because just stuff never works, you know. That sounds like it's something messed up with like a source or maybe a material. Flesh guy matte. What is our texture image file path? Texture 1. These should be in entities, by the way. I don't know why I'm defining them raw like that. This should just I should create some entities called like component manager, or sorry, shader manager and like texture manager. But we can define it raw because we're literally just messing around in main right now. But in the future, that's not gonna. That's a no fly. No fly by me. Yeah, debugging this is a bit tricky. Anything that's like graphically like that usually means that you messed up somewhere with like the source or transform regs. that looks fine. I don't know why that would be an issue. Did I mix up camera draw, tmap source, and tmap dest? Because it seems like it's drawing the source as a dest, and then yeah, so it's updating the. Oh, it might be camera follow. Is camera follow the one that's messing it up? So follow transform in the camera position. Goes dest source. Yeah, it's dest source. That looks good. Then our player goes dest source renderer flash guy material and C cam position. Yeah, that's strange. I don't know. I don't know why that doesn't work. I'll be right back. I'll figure this out, and then we will just end off the episode with a running program. All right, so we found the error. As I figured, we were replacing the dest with the source, and here's the problem right here. It's in our previous episode's class right there. So we just got to swap dest and source, and then magically we run this. Oh, it's still throwing something. This.follow was a null pointer, so we got a new error to debug. Follow was a null pointer. Interesting. So let's go ahead and check out our camera follow here. Oh, I know why. I know why that's doing that. I was messing around with something. Yeah, that would make sense why that would, because we have to define dest before we define the camera follow here. All right, that was me debugging. So if you ran it, I'm sure you wouldn't even come across that error. But if you notice, if we got our screen up again, and look at that, it is, you can scroll the grass styles now, so it's looking good. It isn't centered, which I wonder why that is. I believe that would be a trait of camera follow. It is because our Y, we did not change. God. Yeah, I was really tired like 2 days ago when I was recording the first episode here. So I'm really sorry about the quality of that. It was pretty low, not up to usual standards. Made a lot of mistakes in that previous episode, and I guess we're fixing them now. So there we go. It's actually in the center of the screen now. It's all working. We have a running game. That will do it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.